Hi Aries and Aries Rising, here is your 2026 astrology overview. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. Well, what can I say? This is going to be a monumental year. If you watched my 2026 overview, you know what I'm talking about when I talk about some of these alignments that are coming in. So if you're an Aries rising or an Aries sun sign, this is going to be a very big year for many of you. And this has a lot to do with planets of Saturn and Neptune going back into Aries. And we also have Jupiter that's going to move out of Cancer going into Leo. And of course, the eclipses are going to activate everything. So this is going to be a very basic overview of what I see here. Of course, I will continue this in my inner circle with a more expanded overview of 2026. So consider joining. I left a link down below. And there I will go into the charts and what I see happening. And of course, if you do decide to join, you get me one-on-one with the community there. Basically, you could ask me questions about the year and what's going on. And so all the members really do enjoy the live stream calls. So anyway, let's get into it and tell you a little bit about what I see here. And it's all going to start off at the end of January into February, as Saturn and Neptune both change signs from Pisces into Aries. Now this is huge because Neptune, which is going to begin the pattern here, goes into Aries in 2026 here on the 26th. Now Neptune is about fantasy, illusion, imagination, and going into Aries, it becomes very critical to basically change the way you view the world. Your imagination, your intuition gets lit up really strong. And now this has already happened once before, but now it's going to stay in Neptune for the next, 14 years. So that's going to be monumental. And then on the 13th, we have Saturn going into Aries as well. Now, Saturn represents restrictions, limitations. It's about order. And so these two are going to be very much important for Aries rising, because also they're going to conjunct on the 20th, okay? And so that's going to be really big. But before that, we also have this monumental solar eclipse in Aquarius that's going to happen on the 17th. So February I see as one of the most important months of the year for everybody, really. But for you guys, it has to do with your sense of direction. You're going to have a sort of a rebirth of what you want and what you don't want anymore. And I mean, it'll be a much stronger rebirth than it was in 2025, because we're in a very strong year, given the numerology. We're in a 1 year, which is a new beginning. So many of you are going to be empowered. You're going to feel like, I got to take off. I got to go. I got to do something new. I'm going to change. I can't be held back anymore. And that's what's coming in February for many of you, especially around the 20th, when both Saturn and Neptune will be conjunct, which means they'll be at the same degree. And this is going to be in your first house of identity and self. So talk about motivation and creativity. Most of you are going to feel this. You're going to say, time for something new, time to change my appearance, time to, move ahead. And that's what February feels like. There's so much energy coming in at the first half of February that you won't be able to stop it. Now, especially towards the end of the month. Now, the end of the month, it gets a little tricky in February because we have the first retrograde, which doesn't mean you slow down and do nothing, because it's going to be in Pisces. So you're going to really be thinking about what you need to let go of. But what really sets February off in a big way is this. Mars, your ruler, will be squaring Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So Mars will be in Aquarius and Uranus will be in Taurus on the 27th. This could be a little bit disruptive, destructive, and things will begin to change. So the first month that I would really pay attention to would be February, because the energy is going to be off the charts for many of you, okay? Then when we go into March, we start off the month of March with a lunar eclipse in Virgo, the sign of work and health. And for many of you, that's going to be the 6th house. And so this is about you maybe leaving a job, leaving a certain situation. An issue with health arises, even if it might not be your health, it may be somebody else's health that you're having to care for. So there is definitely an issue here having to do with health matters, or maybe you're changing up your diet and health routine. So this is going to start off March, as you can see here. Now, the rest of March is kind of, a little more docile and everything. But when we get to April, oh my goodness. In April, there is a wonderful alignment that's going to occur. It's called a stellium. A stellium is when we have 3-4 planets in the same sign. And between here, April the 15th through the 19th, we will have 6 planets in the sign of Aries. And you guys are basically being rebirthed again. So not only do we have February, major disruptions and changes and taking an initiative into your future, then we got April that comes in where the sun is in the sign of Aries and all these other planets are in Aries. And it's just like a freight train going down the road. It just almost unstoppable. So this is the kind of energy we have here. But wait, there's more. At the end of April, we have Uranus entering Gemini on the 25th. Now, Uranus already entered Gemini, but because of all this energy from the Aries stellium, we have Gemini energy that is ramping up your third house of communication. So many of you are going to be filled with ideas, filled with change, looking at the world in a completely different way than you have in the last couple of years. So the world is about to change big time for many of you. And I'm just giving you a little glimpse of what it looks like astrologically. So again, these are opportunities. These are doorways. You're the one that has to go through them. You understand? Because you have to make the choices and then reap the rewards or the experiences from those choices. That's how it works, friends. So here we have, April being a big month. Now, there's really not a whole lot going on in May, but the end of June, we have Jupiter entering Leo. Now, this is monumental as well, too, because Jupiter is now in Leo, another fire sign like yours. And this absolutely ramps up the creativity even more. This is in your 5th house of love, romance, speculation, creativity, fun. This also relates to children. So many of you are going to feel even more inspired in June, the end of June, because of the energy coming in. But that's not the end of it, friends. Remember, this will stay in Leo for about a year, so you have plenty of time. But July is the other month that is off the rails, okay, astrologically speaking. And this is because of this, friends. Do you see all these alignments that are going to occur in July? And notice what sign they're in. Aries. There's Neptune is in Aries, it's also sextiling Pluto. So there's a lot of Aries energy that's going to be activated in July. And some of these alignments are actually very favorable, except for this yellow one that I highlighted here, where Jupiter in Leo is going to oppose powerful Pluto. So this is a huge change for everyone. But for you guys, it has to do with your 5th house and your 11th house. So organizations, people that you're associated with, clubs, memberships, something to do with your children. You are at a crossroads where you will be making significant changes in July in these areas. Okay? Everything else looks pretty good. Sextiles are very favorable. Trines are very favorable. And you see there's a whole bunch of them there. But then at the end of the month, we have the North Node switching signs, going into Aquarius, and the South Node, which is always in the opposite, going into Leo. Now, this changes the dynamics. This is like 18 months. For 18 months, these nodes, they're not planets. They're just positions on the moon as it crosses over the ecliptic. So they signify where you're going and where you've come from. North Node is where you're going. South Node is where you came from. So here we see the North Node in Aquarius, which is about humanity. It's in your 11th house. Future, hopes and wishes, doing things out of the ordinary, breaking old habits and traditions and stuff like that. That's what's coming for many of you. So this is going to be a huge year for Aries rising and Aries sun sign, because the motivation is going to be very strong to change your outlook, change your surroundings, change the people in your life, start something new. This is the theme here for many of you. So the astrology is absolutely indicating that. But wait, there's more. Hold on here a second. There is a solar eclipse in Leo on August the 12th to enhance the creativity even more so. So now we're seeing the eclipse in Leo. That's going to be at about 20 degrees of Leo. So if you know that in your birth chart, that's huge. That's absolutely huge for many of you. And so this suggests something new, a new project, new endeavor, new family dynamics, new children in your life, like grandchildren, or if you're of age of having kids. You might, have children, or being around children, being more playful, being very creative. Leo energy is very creative. So this is going to help you because your fifth house will be lit up. And so you could see here how July and August, the energy is off the charts. Then we have at the end of August, we have the lunar eclipse, which is about endings. And it's in Pisces in your 12th house of spirituality and mysticism. So you're really looking at the world in a totally different way here. And you're basically saying goodbye to something that's not working anymore, or a spiritual practice that's not working anymore. And so you have to realize that in order for new beginnings, things have to end. It's just the way it works. Then we also have in October. Now, we skipped over September. There's not a whole lot going on in September. There is a square between Mars and Cancer, squaring Saturn and Aries. So there could be some issues around the home or deciding to move. I will cover that more in my Inner Circle extended view of this. But for now, I'm just going over the basics. And here is the retrograde. Of course, a retrograde is always about going back. And this is about money and relationships. It's in your 8th house. So there's a deep psychological transformation that's taking place here for many of you. Okay, with this retrograde, it starts off with Scorpio and then goes into Libra, into your 7th house. So there's a lot of issues here with relationships at this point. Okay, financial matters and relationships are a key around October into November the 13th. And then last but not least, we have a major conjunction here between Mars and Jupiter that is going to be in Leo. And this is going to be on November the 15th. So this is how you're rounding down the year. But this is a very powerful, initiating, something new that's coming into your life. Again, the 5th house is being activated. So this has to do with your children, or it has to do with your love life or creative project or something new that's coming in. So you could tell here that there is a lot of creativity happening this year. There's a lot of motivation happening this year. There's really nothing that's going to hold you back. You just have to decide on what you want to do and how you want to do it, because the energy is very favorable for you guys to take chances or to break old patterns and to go in a new direction. All right, that's what I'm seeing for you guys as a general overview. If you want to know more, of course, sign up for my free newsletter at either astrologerjoe.com or my other website, planetswithin.com. There you could also get a free mini moon reading. And if you decide to buy the full report, we get a little kickback on that. It's not a big deal. It's a third-party app. So anyway, check it out. Consider joining the Inner Circle. Here's my other website, planetswithin.com. And of course, there I always have the astrology, the monthly astrology. And here's the overview for 2026 if you want to read about the astrology overview, which I wrote. And of course, consider joining my Inner Circle. There, we go way down the rabbit hole. We talk about astrology. Members get to ask me questions based on their charts. They send me a chart. I will answer a few questions for them, give them, some of the highlights. And this is based on your actual chart, so I could see a lot more. So you'd have to get your chart and send it to me in the whole 9 yards. But in the meantime, there's a lot to do and see in the charts, especially the live calls. Everyone really does enjoy them. And so I look forward to seeing you in the Inner Circle. Have a great new year. And always remember, friends, we are spiritual beings having these human experiences. And we're going through a massive transformation right now where humanity's waking up and the old system is trying to control humanity. So we have to take back our power as powerful spiritual beings that we are and decide what kind of future we want. Anyway, have a great new year. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.